It's one of the great designs from Yokoyama, although these will become collectible in no time at all. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and I'm going to open up one of my favorite genre kits. This is actually the Krachenvogel from the Maschinen Krieger universe. So Maschinen Krieger, or Ma.K, is one of those science fiction genres which was developed by the Japanese artist Yokoyama in the 80s, and of recent times the kits have been made available again. So this particular kit was originally released as part of the Nitto range, and then excuse me, and then the Nitto basically they disappeared, they went out of production, and some of the components for these particular kits started off with the Neuspotter. So Neuspotter got released earlier than this one. Some of the parts were remade, so they've got new molds, and from that they made new molds to make the Krachenvogel. So Krachenvogel is very similar to the Neuspotter. It's got the basic same shape, you know, basically the pencil stick on the ping pong ball with this particular sensor head, but it has additional sensors such as this sail and this antenna here, and then it's also weaponized with these Panzerschrecks on the base here. So let's have a look inside it. All right, so let's just get this ready here. So very nice artwork. So always with Maschinen Krieger new releases, there'll be a new box art which has been created by Yokoyama. You can see that by here, he signed it. Across here was a cow with 21, so 2021. And each time there's a new release, this artwork will be different, so they will become very, very collectible. Okay, let's put that aside, move this over here. All right, so let's look at this part first. So these are clear parts. And you probably see from a reflection there, this is actually a new molding for the base, which they first released with the Neuspotter. The idea is the ball part, which is the anti-gravity device. By itself, it doesn't stand very well, obviously, because it's just a ball. So this is a stand, transparent, so you can barely see it, but it holds it upright very sturdily. Then over here, we've got the eye section, which is part of the head unit. Okay, let's pop that over here. All right, what we have here now is a couple of sprue, I think they're the same. So the PCO2 polycaps. Oh no, there's PCO2 and BJ04. So you've got ball joints and polycaps at the same time. So these are the vinyl flexible style. And these are the parts that give you some posability and movement after the kit's been fully produced. All right, over here, it's going to be a bit hard to see because this packet is fully sealed with a fuse sprue in it, but you can see the classical figure here. This is an original Nitto figure. Can't remember his name. It's in the manual, so we'll check that out. It's quite interesting that it's the clothing is wearing a trench coat and a skull cap, and he has his stick here. So it's a mixture of primitive, so basically primitive style clothing, but you have a technological machine that's with it. And it's this juxtaposition of all these different elements that makes Yokoyama's work so interesting. So underneath the figure is a specific Krachenvogel sprue sheet. So here you've got the big sail antenna. So this is part of the bits that were previously in metal. On this side there's a curved antenna. And then you've got these three parts on each side that will go onto the stem, and these support the Panzerfaust. So, Panzerschrecks they should be, because these are the ones with the tubes. So you've got the Panzerschrecks on the side, so there's three for each side. You've got the mounts on this side, and then the ends as well, so front end and the back end. So these are most of the original parts for the Krachenvogel are in here along with the figure. Okay, so in this bag you've got all the common parts you'll find with the Neuspotter. So this round part here is the anti-gravity device. So this is how it floats. And then you have the various oil tanks, air tanks. This is the main spine, the stick section. And then you have a lot of really fine details. You've got little handrails. On this side, you can see that main sensor, which is also found on the Gans. And then you've got the little jet engine. Well, these are actually rocket engines, which are quite commonly found in Maschinen Krieger. So they've got their design that comes from the Saturn V. So inside there's various parts for the gas bottles as well. There's a twin gas bottle just below here. And quite iconic parts for this style of droid, I'd call it, because these are unmanned. So these are part of the Strahl units. So Strahl is the units which basically oppressed the people that came back to Earth for recolonization. So these are a bit like the bad guys, like the Empire. Okay. Now with that, we've got a small packet here. Got some very fine brass and aluminium wire, which you bend up to make the additional protectors and handrails on the bodywork. There's also quite a reel of vinyl tubing, and then there's other little bits of tube which are there as well. So all in all, it becomes a very interesting and complicated looking machine. All right, so that's all the parts. We get down to, we've got a manual, and then the classical card. So the card itself is designed to fit within a binder. So it's got a couple of holes which are punched, so you can just add it to your collection. And you can get these with some of the larger kits that are available from the Maschinen Krieger genre. So here you've got some options on painting. So there's, I mean, you can pretty much paint anything you like, because it's one of the beauties of Maschinen Krieger is because it was started off as a kit bashing type of universe, a lot of people just like to put their own spin on it. And so anything that's sort of World War II, German, aircraft, even armor related, works very well with this design. So over here, we've got instructions on where to place the decals. And then there's another version there. So some nice choices and nice artwork. So pop that aside and let's have a look. Actually, let's look at the decals. Now the decal sheets are always quite collectible as well, because they're quite different. They do have very unique numbers that are very specific to the style of German World War II. So you have nose art, which was quite common on World War II aircraft. So not necessarily all these were used on World War II German aircraft, but they have that feel about them. So you've got skulls, you've got mosquitoes, and various icons. And then you have number systems, and you've got all these stencils here. So warning stencils, and available in different colors too. So you've got black ones and also white ones. So that's to complement whatever camouflage you put on. Okay, so decals, let's go through the manual. Let's move this out of the way. All right, so the manuals are generally pretty straightforward. They're monochrome. This one's in the sort of beige Ma.K style. And this one folds out like so. So we start off with the sensor unit, which is basically the head. So you've got the two halves that go together. You've got the lens in the front, and you tie your side sensors. All the finer details going on, very small bits and pieces. And then you have some of the cabling for the added detail. At this point, you start with the neck joint. So you've got a ball joint and a rotary joint, all in one there. And the arm unit, that's also got PC caps. And then you have the power unit, which is in the center of the, it's a bit like the chest unit. So you've got these three sub-assemblies, and they just go together. Here we're elaborating on the detail. So you've got more sensors going onto the head unit. You've got the rocket engines, which are mounted to the power unit. Here we've got the nitrogen cylinders. So they're the thinner ones. So there's two of those, you glue those together. And then this is the anti-gravity unit, which looks like the two massive tanks. And then you build the main stick, okay, which is like the spine. So over here, we're getting into the construction. So final construction. So you've got the stick going into the power unit and the head. You've got the anti-grav sort of gas tanks going on the back. Over here, we've got the anti-gravity unit, which they call the analysis memory unit. So that's the ping pong ball part of it at the very base. And this is adding on some finer details to there. So on the other side, this is the attachment of the ping pong ball unit to the the spine. You've got a couple of tubes that go on there. And then there's a Panzerschreck construction. So they all use the same parts. So you just need to make 6 of these. There's the Panzerschreck support parts that go onto the spine, and then they just press on. Okay, so over here we've got the power unit with where the vinyl cords are going. You've got the big plate antenna, which they call the jamming plate. This is the radar, which is a curved antenna with the big cable there. And then there's our figurine. So his name is Eddie Amsel. So a very classical pose. Very sought after actually, this figurine. And then there you go, you've got your completed Krachenvogel. So with all your sensors put onto it, the jamming units, and then here is the base and how it sits in place. All right, so there we go. So that's my open box review of the Krachenvogel. So this is from the Mac universe, made by Wave Corporation of Japan, and it's one of the great designs from Yokoyama. And for a while, before they remade some of the parts, you couldn't get these for a long time. So it was decades before these have become available again. So this was just released in 2021, and we still have stock, although these will become collectible in no time at all. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that.